Well, I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but that was surpassed all expectations. Thank you, Tom. It was fantastic. We do have a few minutes to do some questions. Shall we get some lights on, perhaps? Would that be a good idea? Is that possible, Tom?
I can find them, right.
Why don't we take a few questions, and then my colleague Jason's going to give a final vote of thanks and close us out. So, any questions? Don't all rush at once. We're stunned. Yes, Ryan is the brave man.
Hi, Adrian Hall from the British Council. Shakespeare is coming up to 400 years since his death. Do you have any tips to bring it to a new audience even now?
Obviously, yeah, the RSC is pulling out new guns. I'm actually working on a project called Dream 16, which Erica Wyman, the Deputy Artistic Director, is directing, where we're going, taking Midsummer Night's Dream on a tour around the country, and everywhere we go, we've recruited amateur actors to be the mechanicals. So, from Cornwall to Glasgow to Blackpool to, I don't think we're coming to hit you. But, so we've got, and I suppose that's one thing. That's something that Michael Boyd talked about when he was artistic director, about the huge amateur community of theatre makers. That we've developed a separation between the amateur and professional world that didn't really used to exist. And in the 50s and 60s, there were people who would start as amateur and become professional. And I think recognising that theatre is done by so many people as a kind of a recreational activity that they find meaningful and transforming their lives, I think is wonderful. At the moment, it seems a lot of those people are that bit older, so there's always the challenge of getting the younger generation in. We've got 10 children fairies who, to prevent them being cute, are going to be like dead refugee children. It's all set in 1945, so it's post Second World War. So they will be involved and their schools will be involved, so we're working very closely with all of those schools. So I think kind of like the education department of the Royal Shakespeare Company does kind of fantastic work at getting into schools. And I think it is, for me, it's about performing, and it's getting people either to perform or see performances and not be afraid of the language and to understand it, because when it's done well, the language sometimes does sort of seep in. Those actors who you see who speak verse as if it's normal language. Obviously, ticket prices are a huge barrier, which I now only go to places like the Arcola and the actual League of London theatres. Everywhere else is too expensive. So I think that is a huge challenge for access to.
Terrific, thank you. Next, lady at the back.
Hi. It's clear that the whole project was inspirational and the emotion is tangible, even just listening to one person tonight. Can you say a little bit about how you motivated the people and how you were able to coordinate the work, given that many of them were volunteers probably for a reason, which is their own connection to their own emotion?
Yes, it was. I mean, the volunteers came with very different reasons and groups. So sometimes you get like groups of military cadets who would march out in formation and do things. Other times you get just a retired couple. I think initially we had a bit of a pressure about trying to get enough planting for the royal visit. So there was a thing of actually trying to motivate people and say, we want you to plant this many in this time. It then became so popular that it was almost the reverse problem. We'd say, well, your session can only plant 2,000 poppies, so take your time, take as many selfies as you like and just sort of really bed in and enjoy it. But I think a lot of people went with a very serious mind frame. Often they had particular relatives in mind. They would often do their first poppy as that, as a memorial to that person. They'd say, can I now buy that one? And you go, no, we haven't got that system worked out. And I think there was an excitement for people because of the site. I mean, actually, going down into the moat of the Tower of London is a rather extraordinary kind of experience. Not many people do it, really. And you come in a back way next to the tower, get in a little induction film, and then there was a team leader. We had basically Julian, who I pointed out, kind of ran the teams, and then there were 4 or 5 team leaders who then gave a briefing to people, and it was a little bit like the game with Cadbury's chocolate and gloves and knives and forks, and that you had so many health and safety things. So you've got to put these gloves on and these safety balls, and then you've got to use the mallet to put that bit in, and you've got to take that off and do. And actually, it was much easier to do by hand. So there was a lot of that. But I think generally people were. We went round afterwards sometimes and adjusted what people did, but we soon discovered that what was joyous about it was that people did their own thing. So we said this area is mainly, 75s. There were metre high 75s and 45s of the height, and my theory had been that we would graduate between them. But because the ground was too hard in places, they wouldn't go through. But people would start doing random things, putting random heights up, and I soon realised that actually that looked far more beautiful, that the odd high one in amongst another one, and therefore letting people do their own thing worked very well, I think. So no, there was a great team at the Tower of London, coordinating the volunteers, signing people up, and all of that. And I think they also had a Facebook page, the poppy planters had a thing, so they created their own community as well, and then. We even, in the second phase, some of the team leaders were volunteers who came back because they were so excited to do it, and so they kind of became a volunteer team leader. So I think it sort of snowballed that way.
Very good. We've got time for 2 questions, and then we really need to wrap up. So hands, anybody? Lorraine and lady in front. So. And then Tom, you're not shooting off immediately,
I can stay here if people have any.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in the links between the two sides of your story. I mean, what made you decide to take on the poppy installation and go with it? What was it that intrigued you enough to get into this?
I was nervous about it. I was nervous about the symbolism of the poppy. I never used to buy them. I think this project actually transformed the symbol into something that people could identify with again. There's a lot of talk about should we do a white poppy installation. I think it was, it was the challenge of the sort of the scale of it that was exciting. I think if I hadn't done things like the British Museum exhibition, which is kind of spans the world and moves into something which is a bit more static, and I might not have taken it on. I tend to say yes to most things, which is a bit sort of foolhardy. I end up doing about 10 projects a year, so you kind of go, oh yeah, that sounds great, and move on to the next. So I certainly didn't expect to still be doing it until 2018. And I guess looking back, I can see things that, I have done things where I've been interested in the symbolism of flowers, in certainly a lot of stuff to do with blood and all the histories, so that kind of thing. And I guess for a theatre designer, you never have a very big public. Most of the things that I'm most proud of, like that history cycle, might have been seen by about 20,000 people in its lifespan. And therefore, actually, the fact that 5 million people see this is kind of extraordinary. And there was also a kind of interesting sort of anti-story, because the criticisms that we got of the project from people like Jonathan Jones and The Guardian, and they're famous, we've also got a wonderful email from some of the Contemporary Art Society, who, when we were approached about trying to sell these bits, said, we think it's a very interesting exhibition, but we don't consider it a work of art, because it was made by a theatre designer from Plymouth and a potter. So I don't actually live in Plymouth anyway, but it was made in Plymouth. So there has been that thing, which I have actually really enjoyed as a son of an art historian, of actually it's been the most incredible populist piece of art that genuinely seems to move people. And it's rather kind of wry and ironic that the main criticism we've had, like Jonathan Jones saying, you should have filled it, the moat with bones and blood, and you go, well, no, actually, that's so obvious, and actually it isn't a transforming metaphor. My mother, who's 95, said, well, you have to have blood before you have bones. I was young now. So I guess there's a bit of me that goes, actually, it's being taken slightly more seriously. The theatre designers are not genuinely taken seriously, and there are some fantastic ones. I was talking earlier like about Esdeven, who designed the Olympics. John Bowser designed the Paralympic opening ceremony. These people design fashion exhibitions. We are really good at it in this country. In a sense, there was a bit of me going, I'd like to show the world that actually theatre design is more than just a painted backdrop, which a lot of people still think it is.
Very good. We've got one last question here.
The gal whose idea it was, did he have a personal motivation for it?
Paul is quite dyslexic, and I think he found this what was a kind of living will from an anonymous soldier that had been sent back, and it was in the archives. I think it might have been in Nottingham or somewhere like that. So he found that. So I think he related to. He's talked about the fact that that poem instantly made him see red and the sea of red. So I think that's where sort of he came from, and he's. All of his work is around flowers and ceramic flowers, so I suppose it was a sort of logical connection for him to go for.
Okay, I'm going to hand over to Jason, who's going to formally thank you.
Can I get off the stage now?
I think you should stay up there.
Oh.
Wow. Quite a lot of pressure to close this evening. And standing between you and another glass of something cold, I think we have till 9 p.m. So it's a good time to have a conversation and have a drink. That was phenomenal, Tom. I think we're all very pleased you failed at being a biologist. I've had a couple of extraordinary evenings. I didn't think last night would be overshadowed by tonight. Last night I said a thank you to the Chief Economist of the Bank of England, so slightly different, who is one of Time magazine's most influential people in the world, the top 100 list. But I must say tonight was overshadowed. That someone who has somebody that has an MBE from the Queen, been mentioned in the Queen's speech, and 5 million visitors to your incredible installation in the Tower of London, I think is just remarkable. It's touched us all. I'd like to thank our team at Russon that really made it happen. Your pal, your school pal, Tom Bridge, our marketing director, begged and pleaded for you to come, and I think it's great. And Tom made it happen. And thanks to our team with Anna and Tennille and Tasha and others that have been involved in all the logistics around getting over 100 people here. And thank you to you, our clients, people we work with, and somebody told me that there's something like 1,500 networking events every day in London, business networking events. So thanks for not going to the other 1,099. You've done good picking this one, because it has been very, very inspirational. I think we're going to thank Tom again. Like I said, I think creative genius. We've got people from different sectors here. I think we've got. I know a lot of you in the room from very innovative entrepreneurial organisations, and I think with any event like tonight, we've taken time away from being at home. Or being being on a train, I guess you might be later, but you want to take away a few nuggets of gold that you can apply to more, whether it's a more innovative fundraising strategy, or something you can tell your team about collaboration, or about teamwork and whatever it might be. So I think we're all going to take away something very strong from tonight. So again, a final thank you from all of us.